Ever since the release of BlazBlue Calamity Trigger in 2008, the BlazBlue series has enjoyed widespread popularity, with numerous sequels and expansions, Japanese light novels, mangas, spin-offs, and even an anime series. It is well loved for its fighting system, characters, and even story. Game developer Arc System Works has now released the next iteration of the series, BlazBlue Centralfiction. This is the fourth main game in the series, but how does it hold up against the previous titles? While most fighting games forego story by either waving it aside or coming up with some lackluster excuse for why the characters are fighting, the BlazBlue series has been known to give a big emphasis on story, and BlazBlue Centralfiction is no exception. Taking place after the events of the previous game, Chrono Phantasma, the world is left in a chaotic state. See their flow is weakening, Jin Kisaragi is severely hurt, protagonist Ragna the Blood Edge is missing, and a mysterious object known as the Embryo is hovering above the world. Regardless, everyone is trying to further their plans, all of which seem to center around Ragna. The story is done in a very BlazBlue fashion, very complex, featuring a lot of lore and history, but easily understandable. For those who need a little help understanding the story, there is a library that can be used to explain in-game terms. Unlike the other games, in which you can select from multiple story paths, this game focuses on a single story path with occasional sub-scenarios. These sub-scenarios are used to gain understanding of things happening alongside the main story. This is definitely the most straightforward story out of all the other previous titles, and helps to make the series' story more understandable. If you're familiar with the BlazBlue series fighting system, then you will be instantly familiar with the system present in Centralfiction. You and your opponent select one of the many characters in-game, and fight on a 2D plane, trying to land attacks and combos in order to reduce the opponent to 0 HP. All the characters from previous BlazBlue installments return, alongside new, additional characters. On disc or download, you get Naoto Kiragani, the protagonist of the BlazBlue Blood Edge Experiences light novels, Nine the Phantom, a major character within the universe, Hibiki Kuwaku, a side character in Chrono Phantasma, Hades Izanami, the series antagonist, and Susanoo, the spirit of a person inside armor. Through DLC, you can also unlock S, a character from the BlazBlue prequel series X-Blaze, and Mai Natsume, the protagonist of the BlazBlue Remix Heart manga. Each of them have their own new styles of play, some of which are very unique. For example, Mai uses a variable art system, using simple moves that can be chained together, while Nine uses a magic system, in which she gets different magic based on the attacks she does to her enemies. Each of the systems are interesting in their own way, and open up an opportunity to learn new methods and techniques. All of the original variables within the fighting system itself return for this installment, including the heat gauge, barrier gauge, rapid cancels, overdrive, guard bursts, and others. Joining them are two new features, Exceed a Cell and Active Flow. Exceed a Cell is a new special attack available to all characters, which can be performed by pressing all 4 attack buttons during your character's overdrive. This will end the overdrive, but it does allow you to do new combos. Active Flow is a new system that acts as an opposite to the series' Negative Penalty. While Negative Penalty penalizes you for playing too defensively, Active Flow rewards you for playing offensively, by increasing the refill rate of the burst and allowing you to deal more damage while it is active. These systems add to the already successful combat fighting system, encouraging players to fight in new ways and change up their combat style. There are many modes in the game, giving you many different ways to experience it. Players can choose to go through tutorials to learn the basics of the game and its more advanced systems, or even learn how to play as specific characters. In arcade mode, you fight through a randomized sequence of characters with a character of your selection. New to arcade mode is the system of 3 acts, with each act advancing the story. Of course, there is the typical versus mode, which allows you to fight against either a computer or locally, co-op with another player. Story mode allows you to progress through the main story of the game in a visual novel sort of style, with occasional fights sprinkled in. Grim of Abyss plays like the Abyss mode present in Continuum Shift and Chrono Phantasma, in which you travel through various abysses in order to reach the bottom. However, unlike the older Abyss modes, you can now equip your characters with grimoires, granting them stat increases and skills, such as increasing regeneration or increasing the attack strength of projectile attacks. You can even modify the grimoires to give more stat increases and skills. Score Attack is a mode that pits you against a predetermined sequence of characters as you work to get the highest score. In Speedstar mode, the player has a certain amount of time to defeat as many enemies as possible. By performing various actions, such as getting the first attack on a match, not taking damage for a certain amount of time, or doing a certain amount of damage, will add time back to the clock. However, when the gauge at the top of the screen fills up, you have to fight against a boss character. During this time, the boss's attacks will cause you to lose time, but any time earned back through various actions is more than that earned when fighting non-boss enemies. Network mode is also available, in which you can play with other people online through ranked matches, unranked matches, or in a battle lobby. Nothing much has changed in the graphics department. It remains a 2D sprite-based fighting game with 3D backgrounds. Despite this, the visuals are still very bright and vibrant, and the character sprites are very well animated. In story mode, the character graphics remain the same as they were in previous titles, but are well drawn and expressive. The music in the game remains high quality and well designed. The soundtrack is varied, with some tracks returning from previous titles in the series, and new music including specific character themes. Each track fits well and manages to help evoke the appropriate feelings for the situation. The voice acting work is high quality and does well to bring emotion to the characters. However, the biggest disappointment is that there is no English dub, due to Arc System's desire to release the game simultaneously around the world. While this isn't something that ruins the overall quality of the game, it is particularly disappointing, as all other BlazBlue games have had very high-quality English voice acting. BlazBlue Centralfiction stays true to its roots, with systems remaining similar to those used in previous titles. It still manages, however, to introduce new features and characters that add a new tactical consideration to the game. Even if you're not into the fighting aspect, there is still an interesting story mode that can be followed. All in all, whether you're a veteran of the series or a newcomer, it is definitely worth checking out.